Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing well. It's time for your daily dose of some fragrance content and it's time to share with you my initial impressions on two brand new releases from Zimaya. They're part of the same line that is called Itqan. The first one is called Itqan Gold and the second one is called Itqan Noir. Itqan Gold is a clone with a twist of Oud Maracuja from Maison Crivelli, and Itqan Noir is a sort of a hybrid clone of YSL myself. Now, originally I was initially more interested into trying out Itqan Gold because I read online that this fragrance is a clone of Oud Maracuja from Maison Crivelli, and since I really like the original fragrance, I really wanted to try out the Zimaya's take on the original scent profile. But since Itqan Noir was also available, I decided that I should get both of them so I can try and test both of them and share with you my experience. So the first one that I'm going to talk about will be Itqan Gold. As I said, this fragrance was supposedly, when I first got it, this was supposedly inspired by Maison Crivelli's Oud Maracuja, and it does indeed smell like Oud Maracuja. But before I talk about the scent itself, just a quick look at the presentation, because it's actually quite nice and quite impressive. This is how you open up the box itself, and inside here is where the actual bottle sits. It's a really nice, kind of impressive presentation. The cardboard is thick, the whole box feels really nice and sturdy. The things that you should need to know about both fragrances is the bottle size is 100 milliliters and the concentration is EDP. The bottle design is also really nice and interesting. You have this sort of an like tower looking bottle that slims out at the top. You get this sort of wings that are made out of plastic and that are glued to the whole bottle. Both bottles actually share the same bottle design, but they're as the name would suggest, they have different colorations. Now, one thing I have to mention about the actual build quality though is the fact that on my bottle of Itqan Gold, as you can see, the whole color that is protecting the sprayer itself actually came apart. So instead of taking out only the cap, which is plastic but has nice heft, nowadays when I take it off, I actually take the whole color apart. I probably have to glue this back in on the bottle itself, but I can't say that I've been very impressed with the build quality of the bottle. And just as a quick add-on, I don't have this similar problem with the bottle of Itqan Noir, at least not yet, but the bottle of Itqan Gold unfortunately has this sort of a hardware problem. But enough about the presentation and the bottle design, let's talk about the scent itself. As I said, this fragrance is heavily inspired by Maison Crivelli's Oud Maracuja. And again, it does smell like Oud Maracuja. The sprayer is quite nice on both of them, so this is a good thing. And the scent itself, this definitely is inspired by Oud Maracuja, but also feels a little bit different, at least for the moment. One other thing that I have to mention is that I've had these fragrances, these bottles, for about 3 days now. I've given them a few wears already, and I can talk about my initial impressions. This fragrance opens up in a similar way to Oud Maracuja. You get the passion fruit just like you get with the original. You get the rose just like you get it with the original. You also get the agar oud just like you get with the original. But this at the same time feels a little bit different. The first main difference that I pick up in Itqan Gold compared to Oud Maracuja is the fact that this feels a little bit more fruity, but at the same time has this sort of a sour undertone to it. It's sweeter than Oud Maracuja, but has a bit of a sour vibe to it. Also, another thing is that the rose note in this fragrance feels a little bit stronger compared to the original one. The agar oud note feels a little bit more subtle compared to the original one, and the other major difference in this fragrance, apart from being a little bit more fruity, a little bit sweeter, is the fact that the leather note in the opening is just a hint of there's just a hint of leather note. It's not as strong as you get with the original fragrance, which in my opinion is unfortunate because I really like the leather note in Oud Maracuja, the way that it's been used along with the other notes. So that's about the opening. It feels a little bit more fruity, slightly sweeter, a little bit more floral and way less leathery compared to Oud Maracuja. On the dry down, this actually gets closer because the rose starts to lose a bit of its strength, the rose note, and the leather note starts to pick up a little bit more steam, so it becomes a little bit stronger. And on the dry down, Itqan Gold definitely gets closer to Oud Maracuja, but still feels a little bit different. I also pick up a sort of an ambery undertone in this one that I don't pick up out of the original fragrance, and especially because of the less strength of the leather note in Itqan Gold compared to the original. All around, this feels like a slightly more feminine take on the original DNA. In the air, smells quite similar to Oud Maracuja, but I can definitely tell you that this is not a straight up a one-to-one clone. When it comes to performance, it's a good performing fragrance, at least from my initial experience, from my initial wearings. This has been giving me about 7 to 8 hours. It cannot touch the original, which is an absolute beast, but still performance-wise, this is quite good. Probably will get a little bit better with time as well. And it projects also nicely, as you would expect, with something that has the combination of, agar oud and rose. Price-wise, I personally got it off Nutino's website, both of them, and I paid roughly around about 26, 27 euros, which will make it something around about the $32, $33 mark in US dollars. And versatility-wise, definitely this is a more wearable, slightly more feminine take on the DNA of Oud Maracuja, which may be actually a good thing because this can work in a sort of a wider range of time or seasons compared to the original, which in my opinion is strictly a cold weather scent. And now let's move on to Itqan Noir. As I said, I'm not going to show you the bottle up and close because design wise it's absolutely identical, apart from the fact that the bottle has a sort of a black colors on it, the glass itself, unlike the golden, the ambery color that you will get with Itqan Gold. But other than that, it's pretty much identical. The scent itself, as I said, this fragrance is heavily inspired by YSL Myself, but it's not a direct clone neither to the original, the EDP or the Le Parfum version. This is like an interesting hybrid between the two. I'll show you the spray in action and then I'll talk about the scent itself quickly. Again, keep in mind these are initial impressions. I've only had them for a few days. Again, you get a very decent sprayer. Quite good actually, feels almost pressurized. And the scent itself, as I said, this feels like an interesting combination, like a hybrid clone of YSL Myself, EDP and Le Parfum versions. The opening is, you get a bit of freshness, a bit of citrusy freshness, just like you get with the EDP version. You also get some of those white florals like you get with the original fragrance. Original EDP fragrance, but you also get quite a bit more sweetness compared to the EDP version, and that's where I pretty much think that this is a hybrid clone, because this has pretty much the same sweetness in the opening as you will get with the Le Parfum version, which is a slightly darker, sweeter take on that scent profile. Basically, that's pretty much it. You also get quite a bit of a hefty dose of ambroxan, just like you get with the original fragrance and like you'll get with pretty much almost every other modern fragrance nowadays. Lots and lots of ambroxan, but it feels slightly citrusy and quite a bit floral. I also pick up a bit of sweetness, vanillic sweetness, some tonka bean as well, which adds a bit of powderness to the scent itself, and also quite a bit of ambers as well. The dry down becomes darker, it becomes sweeter, just like you get with both the original EDP and the Le Parfum version, but again it feels not as sweet as the Le Parfum version, but definitely sweeter than the EDP version. And it's all around, it's a nice, easy to wear modern fragrance, men's fragrance that can easily be worn by a girl as well, simply because of the amount of sweetness that you get with this one, and also because of the amount of white florals that you get with Itqan Noir. Again, it doesn't feel like a straight up clone of neither the EDP version or the Le Parfum version of Myself. This feels like somewhere in between, like a hybrid clone of both. Performance wise, this is, at least from my initial impressions, this is slightly less of a performer compared to Itqan Gold, which is to be expected. But still, I've been getting about 6 to 7 hours of performance on skin with moderate projection in the first about hour and a half. Again, probably performance will improve a little bit with time, like with almost any other Middle Eastern fragrance, but at the moment that's what I'm getting out of it. Price wise, exactly the same, about 26-27 euros, which will translate into something like $32-33. All around, both of them are a lot cheaper than the fragrances that they have been inspired by. And versatility wise, this is even more versatile than Itqan Gold. It can be worn pretty much all year round, maybe apart from the hottest months of the year because of the amount of sweetness. And it's a masculine fragrance, but definitely feels quite unisex because of the amount of white florals and sweetness that it has. So guys, in today's video I shared with you my initial impressions on two brand new releases from Zimaya, Itqan Gold and Itqan Noir. I hope that you found this video interesting to watch. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.